I'm a pediatrician. I'm a mother of 3. I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was 18 years old. I've had temporal lobe surgery, I've had portions of my brain removed, and I've tried probably 15 medications, and I continue to have seizures. I was very desperate, and I really, really wanted to be free of seizures and free of medications. So I had the surgery. I was able to go back to work, and I was free from seizures for 5 months, and then they came back.
When I say we work on zebrafish, people often find that amusing, the idea that fish can have seizures. But indeed, we found you can induce seizures in zebrafish. If you looked at the electrical recordings that we make from the fish, they look almost identical to what you see in the EEG recordings from patients. By using zebrafish, we can screen 5,000 drugs in the next couple of years and come up with a few targets that no one would have thought of. When we've tested known drugs that already work in patients, they also work in fish, so we know it's going to translate into potential therapies.
We get a report from school that says today John's seizure lasted 15 minutes, and this is what it was like. And the next day it might be 3 minutes, but with some different features.
When he was diagnosed, I remember having the neurologist explain to us, well, he has a normal EEG pattern, but we'll have these little bursts of abnormal activity, and now it's sort of turned over into this, he has an constantly abnormal EEG pattern. So there's this constant anxiety over, how is this changing him?
For me, the hard part is the seizures, because it seems like we'll be moving forward as a family, doing something, and then we've got to stop. And it's upsetting and it's disruptive for everybody.
Going back a year or two, he really seemed to be able to keep up with his friends at school in terms of the academic, the reading, the math, and it's getting harder and harder all the time.
CURE provided really essential seed money to get us started on the collaboration at a pretty critical point when we were just beginning. A success would be to link a critical signaling pathway or a network of pathways to the biogenesis of epileptic seizures, the initial ones, and the chronic seizures.
Cure is not necessarily a word you even think of in the context of epilepsy. That's sort of a paradigm shift when you say, okay, well, we're going to treat your seizures as opposed to we're going to cure you of epilepsy. So that's sort of like, whoa, that's kind of a different idea.
Olivia was born August 25th, 2010, and everything was great. And then when she was 2 months old, she had her first seizure. We found out she had an abnormal brain structure. It was very uncertain what her future would be, that, she would have very significant developmental delays, struggle with epilepsy her entire life. It was losing the daughter we thought we were going to have and having to really come to grips with a different reality. At her best, she's had somewhere between 2 to 5 seizures a day, clusters lasting anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes. At her worst, she's gonna have one now. This is her reality, and this is our reality, and every time she has a seizure, I just wonder, is this the thing that's gonna be, making it harder for her to hold her head up, making it harder for her to swallow, to eat? She's got such a tough road ahead of her, and then the epilepsy is robbing her of whatever potential she has.
Once we started to get funding from CURE, that furthered our belief that we should try these riskier projects. They've gone on to become NIH-funded grants, but it would have been very difficult to take those directions or take those leaps of faith.
The CURE Foundation said, we want grants for people from 2 different disciplines. I had never seen a grant mechanism like that.
I can't tell you how many people CURE has touched and kept their careers alive in basic science. They wouldn't be here today doing basic science without that support that CURE gave them at a really critical point.
I also share the enthusiasm for the multidisciplinary approaches. It's when fields can cross-pollinate that you can make advances.
We're very close to a much deeper understanding about how the brain works. And so I really hope that's going to translate into clinical advances that we can offer to our patients soon.